Notice of a public meeting of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville. Pursuant to Chapter 551, Title 5 of the Texas Government Code, the Texas Open Meetings Act, notice is hereby given that the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, in accordance with Article 5, Section 12 of the Charter of said city, will convene an executive session and a regular meeting on Tuesday, March the 1st, 2011, at 5:30 p.m. and 6 p.m. in the Commission Chambers on the second floor of the Brownsville City Hall, Old Federal Building, located at 1001 East Elizabeth Street, Brownsville, Cameron County, Texas. Executive session, item A, discussion pursuant to Section 551.072 of the Texas Government Code regarding properties struck off from and private bids to Cameron County for itself and other taxing jurisdictions from a tax resale held on November 2nd, 2010. In executive session, item B, attorney consultation pursuant to Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code to provide legal advice and counsel in connection with a lawsuit styled and numbered Brownsville Firefighters Association versus City of Brownsville, Texas, cause number 2009-12-6632-I, and matters related to this litigation.
Mayor, I move that we go to executive sessions.
Second.
There a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. We'll be back by 6.
So,
I'm looking at it right now.
okay.
Is it on ready? Get out of jail quick. Word? No, what I was doing is just going to find
just worried I might be hitting the ground.
You made it.
That is where I do most of my thinking.
Can we have a quorum, please rise? Just face the flag for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the flag,
Pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
and Pastor Brad Burke with the invocation.
Let us pray. Father God, we thank you and praise you for keeping us safe throughout the Charles Days festivities. We thank you for the good time the people of Brownsville were able to have. And Lord, we thank you for the cooperation our police department received from the federal government and the state. Lord, we ask that you continue to bring us into unity, that so we can do great things together. Lord, you know what's in the hearts of each of us here in this room, those watching on TV. Lord, I ask you to remove those things that are not of you, replace it with things that are. And Lord, I ask you to have your way in this meeting tonight. Lead and guide each of us as we do what we believe is right for you in this city. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Thank you, Pastor. Please be seated. Items, executive session. Item A, what's the wish of the commission as far as action?
Would approve?
Second.
Approve what? Approve
Just
as
So let
each item.
legal
as
continue.
recommended by legal? Is that your motion?
That's my motion.
Okay. First, second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Item B,
Action on executive session item as advised by legal counsel in executive session.
okay. Do we have a motion?
Motion to accept the recommendations of council.
Second.
We have a motion to accept the recommendation of council in a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. And then we have
Mayor's report.
mayor's report. I will give you a synopsis here, aside from the meetings. We had an MPO meeting. I think the most important thing I can inform you on is East Morrison Road. They're going to start working on it. It'll take about 13 months to complete. It'll be from Pablo Picel all the way to Paredes Line Road, which will help alleviate the traffic on FM 802 and Alton Glore. Then we have Alton Glore to the west. People were complaining about all the construction going on. That whole road's going to be replaced. That's going to take about another 13 months also. So we ask the citizens around that neighborhood to bear with us. I think everybody had a great Chara Days. I think it was very enjoyable. The weather was great. Mr. Amigo was great. The luncheon was great. Everything with Mr. Amigo Chara Days, Sombrero Fest, I think it was pretty festive. And I think we all had a good time. I had the mayor of Matamoros riding my float, and the governor of Tamaulipas had a representative, and two congressmen from Mexico came to participate. And I think that's good for Brownsville, that we're forming alliances with Mexico. Hopefully build better relations to where we can also have more commerce in Brownsville and more tourism. This also was a good time to celebrate our alliances and friendship and with our sister city, Matamoros. And right after Chara Days, there was a fire at a landfill collector site, about 23-acre collector site. It was started by someone deliberately, and the smoke was starting to come to Brownsville. It was contaminating our air. The mayor called and asked for assistance, and We responded with fire volunteers, and I'm very, very proud of the Assistant Chief, David Hinojosa, and all the volunteers that went to respond to that fire, and we hope to recognize them at the next meeting. They put others' interests before themselves. Of course, they were assured security, and they did an excellent job. Their expertise, I think, made it possible to control the fire and also minimize the risk to Brownsville citizens and by the contamination of the air, and also to the neighborhood surrounding that 23-acre site of property and lives there. What the firemen did is when we got there, the fire was out of control, and they really couldn't get it under control, but our firemen, what they did, they sectorized this 23-acre site by opening up like a road in the middle of the 23-acre site, and then dividing it up to where they could contain it per sections. And they used water and soap. With the soap, it took the oxygen out of the fire, and by 1:30 in the morning, 90% of the fire was extinguished. So I think they did an excellent job. We can all be proud of our local firefighters who put others' interests before themselves, and they responded very, I think, heroically and very professional. I'm going to Austin. I was invited to testify before the House Urban Affairs Committee tomorrow, so I'll be in Austin tomorrow, and also I'll be there on behalf of the Cultural Arts Committee, testifying for funding, for team funding for the cultural arts. I attended the Lower Rio Grande Valley Development Council meeting. We passed some more resolutions there for the humane treatment of animals. I think there was success there, and I think that's going to be for the 3 counties, Willacy, Hidalgo, and Cameron, to raise awareness on the humane treatment of animals. PUB attended a meeting. Through my initiative, we have introduced a new way of treating the lift stations for those people who live around very smelly areas where you can smell the sewage. We hopefully to control it with BioCube treatment as compared to the magnesium. The BioCube treatment will not only treat the smell, but also dissolve the grease and the waste there, to where I think it'll be easier to manage, especially around like the zoo. If you go around there, you smell it. You go around Movies 10 or around the Auburndale plant, and the smell is unbearable. So I think this new way of treating the smell is going to be helpful to the city, and we're going to see a change hopefully in the near future. Also met with the representatives of the investors that we brought to open up a tire recycling plant. It's going to create 200 jobs. They were about to go to San Benito. They were being offered a very attractive offer, but thank goodness we were able to work with them, management and myself, to convince them to stay here and open up the plant, which I think is going to be helpful to the city of Brownsville, dealing with the tire problem and keeping our city clean. So that's to create about 200 jobs. That's my synopsis for this report. Who else has a report here? We have a commission report. Charlie Atkinson.
The thing I got to report on is Old Port Isabel Road and Coffeeport Road. There's some streets being done by PUB. I know when people see the streets all messed up, they're gonna right away blame the city for stuff going on there. But PUB, part of the reinvestment stimulus, paid PUB lots of money to redo all the drainage underneath those streets. So the reason it's been taking long is because they've had to deep down get all these old tubes out, and the drainage will be brand new after it's done. So it's taken some time, and I know people are frustrated on that intersection of Old Port Isabel Road and Coffeeport Road, but just please be patient. It's going to be well worth it when it's all done, and PUB has people running around the clock, making sure that's done, so that's what I want to report.
Commissioner, if you don't mind adding to your report, simply because I got the information from PUB, there's one of two things you can do. You can shut down service and leave everybody there without water and give them a week to get the work done, or they work the way they do by shutting it off sporadically
Yes.
and getting them done. That's why it's taking us so long on some of those streets. It's not necessarily because, you know, that's the way it has to be. It's just that we either shut you down completely or work this way, and thus it takes a little bit longer.
Thanks for clarifying that.
Okay. You concluded your report?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Commissioner Rose Gowan?
Yes, I'd like to thank Mr. McNeil at the Brownsville Tennis Center for, again, hosting a wonderful tennis event this past few weeks. The tournament, which I was very glad to attend the finals last weekend, was very fascinating and exciting. The crowd was very energetic. The kids were very excited to watch tennis players from all over the world. And not just that, but also the officials that were officiating the tennis tournament requesting Brownsville from all over the United States. So that was very exciting. Again, we owe them our great thanks for portraying Brownsville in such a wonderful light. Also, thanks to the Parks and Rec Department, Health Department, and Healthy Communities for the Buena Vida Playground opening a couple of weekends ago. The playground is, as I have mentioned before, a free playground in that we received it by a grant that the city grant writers wrote for 100% coverage of the park adjacent to the Parks and Rec Department. It is open now. It is very fun, even for an adult. If you walk on the cushy surface, you do want to jump up and down and climb the rocks. It's very inviting. So thanks to them for all of their hard work. Also want to remind everyone that the Biggest Loser event is still ongoing, and to remind you that exercise classes are still open for free to everyone, whether you registered or not, in different parts of the city. On Mondays and Fridays at San Felipe Church from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. On Tuesdays and Fridays from 8:30 to 9:30 a.m. at the Good Shepherd Church. On Wednesdays at on Tuesdays and Thursdays at St. Joseph's Church between 8:30 and 9:30 a.m. and at Dean Porter Park every evening on Wednesday, 5:45 to 6:45, and finally Rivetta High School Mondays from 8:45 to 9:30 a.m. The schedule is on the Biggest Loser website, bbl.cob.us. There have been a few glitches with the schedule there, so if you have a problem finding it, go to tusaludsicuenta.com, where you will also find the calendar. Two last things. We did tape the first episode of Eat Well Brownsville a few weeks ago, so if you tune into Channel 12, you will find Tabitha Juarez, the dietitian at Su Clínica Familiar, talking about how to prepare food in a healthy way. She talked about the sugar content of many of the common foods that we eat. And as well, there was a guest chef that talked about baked fried chicken, a very interesting segment, and one of many to come. And lastly, to remind everyone that the Zumba event is still ongoing or going to happen on April the 30th, where Brownsville will attempt to break the world's record for the largest number of people to Zumba in one place at one time. Curiously enough, Glasgow, Scotland will be attempting to break the same record on the same day that we will, but because of time change, we will know whether or not what number they reached before we start ours. So please come out to the Brownsville Sports Park April the 30th. If you get a last-minute phone call, it's because we found out Glasgow has a large number and we need you to come down right away so that we can beat them. We certainly have to beat the Scottish. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gawan. Commissioner Camarillo?
I want to pass on my report.
Thank you. Okay, proclamations, Jaime Jorge Zapata.
Mayor, that's going to be for a later
Oh,
date.
yeah, that's for a later date. We need to pass that one out.
Posted here. Can we have a motion to table it?
Move the table.
Table, second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
I think, does anybody want? No, I got two.
Yeah, I got three.
We got two, everybody got three?
Got three.
Okay, Confederate Air Force. Mr. Brown. Is this the one I asked for?
Yes, this is the one that you had mentioned previously before. Mayor,
It's gonna
City
be presented
Commissioners,
At the air show, right?
that's correct, in the Friends of the Airport tent. In summary, what this does is recognize the history and the significance of a number of different firsts that have taken place at the Brownsville South Powder International Airport. But the focus is the fact, and the focus of the activities will be centered this year on the annual air show, which should be unique this year because it's a 3-day air show instead of 2 days. It's March 11th, 12th, and 13th. March 11th, the air show will start about 3 o'clock in the afternoon and will be a nighttime air show. That's a Friday. There will also be an air show on Saturday as well as on Sunday. They'll be flying all 3 days. The Friday evening air show will have air acrobatic acts that actually take place after dark, which is truly a unique thing to see in terms of planes being lit up and so on and so forth, and it's truly something unique. The air show appears as though it will be a particularly good air show, assuming the weather holds true like it did last year. So we would invite everyone, encourage the City Commission to invite everyone to come out and actually see how planes fly. Bring the kids out so they have an opportunity to go up and touch an airplane, to see how airplanes fly, the various different things they can do and so forth, and gain an appreciation of aviation. We would recommend approval.
Okay, March 11th, what time does it start?
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
Right. That's at the airport. It's on the 1735 runway. The key thing is to go to the Commemorative Air Force headquarters, which is along Minnesota, south of Billy Mitchell in Minnesota, and be going there. And I think people will find a very interesting time.
Okay, any questions? Thank you, Larry.
Thank you all.
Can you read the proclamation?
Sir?
Is there a proclamation?
Yes, we have a proclamation. Did you want it read today, or
Well, you want to read it for the record?
if you'd like? A proclamation of the City Commission of Brownsville, Texas, recognizing the Commemorative Air Force on its 20th local air show. Whereas the mission of the Commemorative Air Force is the preservation, protection, and display of antique flying machines dating primarily from the World War II era. And whereas in its almost 30 years of existence before moving to Brownsville, the CAF hosted 29 air shows, which drew flying demonstrations, acts, aircraft, and performances by state-of-the-art military planes, along with a carnival-like atmosphere, all of which were enormously popular with the public and which drew large crowds. And whereas in 1991, coincidental to its move to the Brownsville South Padre Island International Airport, the Rio Grande Valley wing of the CAF hosted its first local air show, beginning an annual tradition that continues today. And whereas at hand is the 20th edition of the CAF's RGV Wing Air Show, and as usual, large crowds, great performances, and good times will be the order of the day. And whereas we congratulate the RGV Wing of the CAF for providing our city with this entertainment gem that, along with many other things about our city, helps to keep Brownsville in its rightful place as a leader among South Texas cities. Now therefore, we, the members of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, by virtue of the authority vested by the charter of said city, and on behalf of all our citizens, do hereby recognize the Commemorative Air Force for its continuing contribution to the culture of our city and our area, and on the event of its 20th air show at the Brownsville South Padre Island International Airport, done on this, the first day of March 2011, signed by Mayor Pat Ahumada and City Commissioners.
Thank you. Okay, Employee of the Month?
Mayor, members of the commission, please help me welcome the Employee of the Month for March 2011, Allison Bastian from the City Attorney's Office. Allison began working with the City of Brownsville in August of 2007 with the Brownsville Community Improvement Corporation, the 4B. September that year, she was relocated and accepted a position with the Planning Department. And then we found out she was an attorney, so in September of 2009, she was introduced and accepted a position with our city attorney's office. Since then, she has proven herself to be one of our prime employees. One of the first things we wanted to address was collections, especially weedy lot collections and things like that that were traditionally assigned to and handled by contract counsel. and we gave her that task, and she did a tremendous job, and has now kept us up to par in the collections of witty lots and other dues over the city. She has then moved on to other responsibilities, including working on the plastic bag ordinance, working on extraterritorial jurisdiction issues as a result of other cities' pending issues with our city in relation to that. She has targeted and passed and helped pass ordinance through the city commission in relation to payday loans and sexually oriented businesses. Plus, she's also helped us with prosecution in relation to juvenile cases. In these ways, Allison demonstrates the core values of a good employee. She can be counted on to show initiative, excellence, accountability, and is a proven team player. And we honor her with the plaque of the Employee of the Month for March for her excellence. A watch. She's always on time. She doesn't really need it, but we're going to give her a watch. And the Employee of the Month pin for March. And of course, she's eligible for the Employee of the Year, which we decide on at our banquet in December. Congratulations, Alice.
Charlie, all this is nice, but is she getting a raise?
Nobody's gonna do it.
No collective bargain on that, but we'll meet with Mark and.
I think Mark should still take her out to lunch.
He did, he's already done.
Oh, you did? All right. Good job.
Yes, he has.
You appreciate and value it, Allison. I know, I appreciate you. You did a great job.
Thank you. I mean, this is just super nice. I really appreciate it. I'm very grateful. I'm very lucky to work in such a great city with wonderful people. I'm lucky to have Mark as a great mentor and boss, Ceci and Tita keep our office going, and we're really lucky to have them. And this is just extra special because I've only lived in Brownsville 4 years, but you know, it feels more like home to me than my other place I lived in ever did. So that makes this extra sweet, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be an advocate for the city and to do the best I can for it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Alice.
For those who don't know, she's an artist. Also, consent agenda items.
Consent agenda items A through B.
Move to approve?
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 6.
Item 6, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 2011-1539-A to amend ordinance number 2011-1539 by adding F penalty to section 98-14, use of a wireless communication device offense.
Public hearing.
Mark, so basically here, if you're found guilty, the court charge will be $150?
That's correct, and I'd like to make it clear, I think this item was placed on the agenda by the mayor. I don't have a position whether or not the fine should be $150 or $500. It's really a policy issue, not a legal issue. So it's something, that's the $500, I think, is the maximum
Let
fine.
me explain, Mark. We passed the ordinance, my intent was to have as a deterrent to save lives, not for us to get rich on. I didn't realize that the fine was going to be $500. And that's kind of steep, and it got past us here. And when I realized it was $500, you know, I said, well, you know, that's kind of harsh. So I asked Allison and Mark to look into amending the ordinance to $150, which includes the court cost, which I think is $69 a court cost, something like that. The intent, more than anything else, of this ordinance is to deter people from texting while driving, and focus on their driving, so they're not putting themselves or anyone else at risk. So based on that, you all want to change it, but
I have a question. Who set the set amount? Did you set or did staff set the price on the fine?
it was said, I think, by staff, someone. I think
Somebody
there's
needs to tell us.
There's a de facto fine, but the city commission can certainly set whatever fine they believe is appropriate. And I think that's very much
My
a
question-
policy issue, not a legal issue.
My question is, who deems
We can do it here.
do we have that authority?
When he says it's a policy issue, he's saying that we need to make a decision on
Okay.
what the amount is going to be. If it's at, the maximum is $500. If we set it at a max, the judge, at his discretion, can put it at 150, 100, whatever, waive the fine, however he wants to do it, and then it says court costs. Those are separate. Those are normally separate.
Were you aware of that?
Yes.
So let me ask you something. So it's safe to keep it at 500 and the judge can dismiss it or give 150?
The
Not
judge can-
necessarily, if we say 150, the judge has no wiggle room to, it's going
It's
to be
capped.
150.
That's correct. It's a cap, including court costs.
But since it's a Class C misdemeanor, if it's at $500, the judge can say, you know what, you can't afford it, I'll give you 100. You know, you've done it 5 times, so I'm going to give you
The municipal
$500.
judge has the discretion to set whatever fine he thinks is appropriate up to $500.
Now, one more question I have. I know we are always told we need 2 people to put stuff on the agenda. How did this go under your name and who put it under your name?
I didn't place it on the agenda.
Who put it, do we know who?
I asked to be put.
It
I
was
asked-
put by
why would you
the
put it
mayor
under
and I believe it was
your
Melissa.
name and somebody else who supports what you're doing?
Well, no, I
Well,
asked-
he did ask me, and I would have been fine with it. I just failed to tell Estella that I would
It
co-sponsor
was them, but apparently it was
It's not a
marked
big
with Mark
issue, guys.
Saucy's
I don't
name.
care who
That was
puts
from
it on
our
the
office.
agenda.
I don't see what the issue would be as to why it's on the agenda or how it got on the
I just
agenda.
want it to
Warrants
be,
discussion.
And
I just want us to be a little kinder, I guess, and try to work with, you know, somebody from South Mills gets stuck with a $500 fine. That's pretty steep.
I think
I like-
anybody
I
from
like-
town
I
that
like
gets
to
stuck
keep
with
it
it.
capped at 150 to where it serves as a deterrent, not, you know, breaking somebody. That's all. I mean, if you want to keep it at 500, you're welcome to do so.
The judge
it's, Mayor, we can just say a fine not to exceed 500. The
that's what
judge
it
can
says-
say
that's what it
100, you can
says
say
already.
50.
That's what it said already.
That's what it
Sorry,
says
Stacy.
already.
Yeah, that's the way
It was
it's
a
normally
moot
done in a
point.
municipal court setting.
Well, like I said, again, and this is my opinion, ladies and gentlemen and colleagues, I think $500 is kind of high.
It doesn't have to.
That's not what that's not what,
That's not
You
what
all
it
want to
says.
keep it 500, you're welcome
But
to
that's
do it.
not what it says.
that's not what it means.
Well, it gives the judge a discretion to fine up to $500, so
On a
it's a matter of
case-by-case
semantics.
basis.
You
before
you
I
can
talk
have a
about it.
situation where someone gets cited 3 or 4 times. The judge needs leeway to say, this is your third time.
What if
Or
it's
you could
the
also
fifth
have a
time it
situation where
goes up there?
someone's texting and backs into
Okay,
drives into a
okay,
car.
okay. This is not a federal case, it's not a big deal. Y'all want to table it, table it.
I move the table.
Okay, you got a motion?
Well, why do we table it? Why don't we just say, why don't we just deny it and we'll go with what we had
I
before?
move to deny.
Okay, make a motion.
He's got guidelines
You
in the
need to
in the
close
order.
public hearing first.
He's got
Let's
guidelines.
move to
on-
close public hearing. So move.
Motion to close public hearing, a
Second.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. This is an action item. You want to make your motion to deny it, Commissioner Atkinson?
Yeah, I'll make my motion to deny it and research it more in the future.
Doesn't,
Okay. We have a motion to deny. Can we have a second?
Second.
Can we have a second? All in favor to deny?
Aye.
aye.
All against?
Nay.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, nay and nay. Okay? Next item.
Item number 7, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 235-2011-002 to rezone from light retail X to medium retail G for 1.584 acres for Lot 1, Block 1 of Charmaine Road.
Honorable Mayor, City Commission, this is the area shaded in red. It's on Charmaine Road. This is a proposed site for a Stripes store. The Plan and Zoning Commission voted unanimously to approve this recommendation to the public hearing.
It's a public hearing.
Move to close public hearing?
Second.
Motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Action item.
Move to approve.
Wow, we have a course here. We have a motion, second and third. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Item 8.
Item 8, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 235-2011-003-S to allow an apartment-specific use in a dwelling Z and light commercial Z for .34 acres of Lot 5 of Medrano subdivision located near Boca Chica Boulevard on Vermilion Avenue.
Honorable Mayor, City Commissioners, that's the property shaded in red there. Here they propose to construct 6 apartment units. Planning and Zoning Commission voted unanimously to approve this application to you. This is a public hearing.
Move to close public hearing?
Okay, we have a motion, close public hearing. Do we have a second?
Yes.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item.
Approve?
Second.
To approve on the second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We have public comments.
Now we have item
We have
9.
number 9.
Oh, we have number 9, I'm sorry.
Item 9, public hearing and action on the first reading of ordinance number 235-2011-601-CU, an ordinance allowing a conditional use permit to sell on-premises alcohol for 1.024 acres for Lot 6, Block H of Brownsville Land Improvement Company subdivision located at 1260 West Price Road.
Honorable Mayor, City Commissioners, this property shaded in red here, it's on West Price. Here, the applicant would like to have a location to sell wings and alcohol. The Plan and Zoning Commission voted unanimously to approve this application. The public hearing.
It's a public hearing.
Move to close.
Motion closed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have motion and second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 10,
Public comment period.
to item 11.
Item 11, consideration and action to adopt budget amendment resolution number 2011-016 to amend the general fund budget to provide funding for the repairs of an elevator at the El Tapiz building.
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Commission, this is an item that we certainly request that you approve, and that's to repair the elevator at El Tapiz building.
Would approve?
Thank you, Pete.
Second.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Item 12.
12 and 13 were asked to be tabled.
May I read them?
Yes, ma'am.
Item 12, consideration and action to create the West Morrison Road Public Improvement District. And item 13, consideration and action to appoint members, directors to the West Morrison Road PID Board of Directors.
Move the table.
Why are we tabling real quick?
At their request. We have a motion to table, and can I have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 14.
Item 14, consideration and action regarding a memorandum of understanding between the City of Brownsville, Brownsville Police Department, Brownsville Municipal Court, Brownsville Independent School District Police Department, Resaca de la Palma State Park, Brownsville Department of Parks and Recreation Urban Center, Rio Grande Valley Empowerment Zone Corporation, Brownsville Housing Authority, and the Valley AIDS Council for an anti-gang strategies and programs grant.
Okay.
Hi, good evening, Commission. I'm simply here today to request permission for City Manager to sign off on our MOU when it is final. The application deadline is actually March 11th, and I'm getting all the finer details in place and doing my best to get that submitted before March 11th. So at this moment, the MOU is not absolutely complete. What you have is a draft, and I am requesting your permission to allow City Manager to sign off on the final draft.
Move to approve.
I think this is great, and this brings me to mind if we could do something to work together to control and help prevent obesity. One of them is the vending machines in the school district that's offering nothing but junk food.
They don't have junk food anymore.
They don't?
They don't? Or Cokes. It's all water or
Really?
Gatorades. Yeah.
So you got healthy foods there?
So we're on our way.
Good.
Do they have a
for
new
you.
nutrition program too?
I haven't been to school in a long time.
That's coming, I think.
Well, good. Okay, so can we get
So
a
moved.
motion
Move to approve.
Second.
and a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. I congratulate you. Thank you. Item 16.
Item 15,
15.
consideration and action regarding a memorandum of understanding between the City of Brownsville, Brownsville Independent School District, and the University of Texas Southmost College for a Department of State Health Services Community Obesity Prevention Projects grant.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm here to basically ask the same request, if you could allow Mr. Caballero, City Manager, to sign the final MOU. This would be an agreement between the City of Brownsville, Brownsville Independent School District, School of Public Health, University of Texas at Brownsville. Once all the partners finalize the MOU and agree to move forward, basically it's for a request of up to $300,000 to prevent childhood obesity through nutrition, education, and increased physical activity at the schools.
Move to approve.
Second.
Let me ask you, y'all can control or stop the students leaving campus?
That would basically fall under the jurisdiction of the BISD, I believe.
Okay. We have a motion, a second.
Real quick, I just want to thank what y'all are doing and Commissioner Gallant for all the hard work she's worked with these grant writers to bring some of these grants before our agenda. I applaud what you're doing, and you need the recognition.
Thank
You
you for
guys
your,
are great.
Thank you, Commissioner Gallant.
thank you. Thank you very much.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 16.
Item 16, consideration and action to award a contract for the purchase and delivery of a portable generator for the City of Brownsville.
Good evening, City Commission, Honorable Mayor. Staff recommendation is to award a contract for the purchase and delivery of a portable generator for the City of Brownsville to Volvo Construction Equipment and Services out of Houston, Texas, in the amount of $93,525. This procurement reflects HEAC contract pricing, that means the Houston Galveston Area Council, Funding is available for this procurement from the 2009 State Homeland Security Program account number 01-9111-848-162 in the amount of $85,000, and the remaining amount of $8,525 is coming from the account number 01-418-752. The administration of the Emergency Management Office concurs with this recommendation.
Please excuse me, but Santana, is this similar to what we use it in Palo pumps during storms? Okay. But basically,
It's sitting on a trailer, so we can.
its main
move it
use
around.
is going to be for our pumps? Okay, thank you.
Move to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next item?
Item 17, consideration and action to award a contract for repair of the elevator at the El Tapiz building.
Can we just do that?
Staff recommendation is to award a contract for the repairs of the elevator located at El Tapiz Building for the City of Brownsville to ThyssenKrupp Elevators of Corpus Christi, Texas, in the amount of $58,388. This is a captive vendor. ThyssenKrupp is currently under contract for the maintenance. It just happens that we got the last inspection from the state came back saying that we needed to replace the main cylinder in this elevator. So that's the reason why, we're coming with this presentation to get the monies to repair this elevator. Funding is available for this procurement or for this for fixing this elevator under account number 01-610-741. The administration of the planning department concurs with this recommendation.
Move to
Okay,
approve?
it's an action item. We have a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 18,
Item 18, consideration and action to award a contract for work order numbers 1, 2, and 3 for professional services for the Brownsville Planning Department.
Staff recommendation is to award work order number 1 for engineering services and surveying services for Four Corners Detention Pond for the City of Brownsville to Ambutech Engineering in the amount of $193,289. Also, staff recommends the award of work order number 2 for engineering and surveying services for Resaca de la Guerra Culvert Crossing Project, also to Ambutech Engineering out of Brownsville, Texas, in the amount of $93,930. And the last one is work order number 3 for engineering and surveying services for the storm sewer pump station generator project for the City of Brownsville, also to Ambutech Engineering, in the amount of $27,313 for a grand total of $314,532. Now, the entire project, the construction of this, totals to $3,800,000. So this is basically out of the rotation contract for engineering at 8.5% of the total construction cost.
let me ask you this, Robert.
Yes, sir.
At a time where I know all these engineering firms are hurting, why are we giving it all to just one group?
This Ambutech has been working on this section, these particular projects for quite some time before, and what we have on the rotation in this case, it's mainly for streets, but then we have a miscellaneous contract for engineers. So it happens that Ambutech has most of the information on these projects, and it's also the turn for Ambutech to work on these projects.
So it's going to be his turn regardless? Is
Yes.
that what you're saying?
That's correct.
Okay. 'Cause it
Move to
seems
approve.
kind of
Second.
strange getting all of it when you could have given it to.
Well, if you look at the back, at least for the last 8 years, what I've been working with these projects with the detention ponds, Ambutech is responsible. We don't flood in Southmost anymore. I'm speaking on District 1. Ambutech is 100% responsible through their engineering and the way they've worked it out to where we don't flood anymore. And they've done the same over by Academy, and they've done over with Resaca de la Guerra. They've done it with all of these. I mean, if it ain't broke,
Aren't they experts too on the drainage engineering part?
Well, they have an errors and omission liability, it's
But
professional.
I think the other firms are just as qualified. I mean,
That is
you
what-
can't,
But
you
there's
can't,
different
you- I
types of
mean, if you're trying to
engineering.
put them up here on a
I'll move the question. I
pedestal,
think
that
we got
doesn't sell
a
me.
motion and a
I can tell
second.
you
I'll move
that.
the question.
That don't sell me. Because if the others can't
Excuse
match
me, I
what
think there's a
he's
motion on the
doing,
floor to move the
no,
question.
It doesn't make sense.
Mr. Mayor, there's a motion on the floor to move the question.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion to adjourn and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All the rest is there.